Hello, everyone. Welcome to week number 7. Next to the last week of our term, a really important week. If you'll notice, my background is totally changed because I sold my house and I moved out of it. I lived in it for 25 years. And right now I'm staying in an Airbnb until the next step in my journey in life. So let's see what we've got going on. Oops. As usual, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Okay, last week we talked about asexual and sexual reproduction and the advantages and disadvantages of each, whether you're a bacterium or a human being or an oak tree or, anything. A snail lives under a log, right? There's different types of reproduction and there are benefits and disadvantages to each. We talked about heredity and nature versus nurture. Oh, I hope you went and watched The Bad Seed. It is a wonderful, wonderful movie. It's so crazy, and so crazy for the times of the 1950s. So anyway, we also talked some about biodiversity. So this week is a really important week, and we do have a subject, ecosystems and ecology. And so an ecosystem is a particular environment and includes all the abiotic features of it, like the climate and how much moisture there is or what type of soil there is, all sorts of things like that, and all the species that live there together in this particular environment. Ecology is the study of all species that live together and how they interact with their environment. There's a video for you to watch on the red tides in Florida, and here it is getting to be warm weather again. We're going to hear about this. We have them every year. We have them off the coast of North and South Carolina too from time to time. I couldn't move my face over. There you go. So they are very harmful, and no one should discount them because the organisms that produce these red tides also produce highly toxic poisons. It was a couple of summers back, close to where I live, a woman took her 2 dogs out for a walk, and they jumped into this algae-filled pond. And the 2 dogs died. They died from the toxins that were in the water produced by the algae, and there was nothing that she could do about it. It took them immediately. So do not discount how important these red tides are and how harmful they are to the environment, species that live in these waterways, and also to us and other organisms that just use the waterways. So there's a video on this. We have discussion board postings. They are optional this week, and these have to do with eutrophication, and the red tides are an example of eutrophication. The phosphorus cycle, which is one that continues through the processing of phosphorus throughout the world, wastes and energy and nutrient flow. So those discussion board postings are optional. And the reason for this is because this is such an assignment heavy week. So let's get into that. Your final project is due. Okay, you have all the parts of this graded. All right? You have the 3 milestones that you've already produced. You're going to put them together and make them a final project, a presentation. One thing I want to emphasize here is that 260 points out of your total 1,000 points, that's more than a quarter of your grade, is this final project. So please get these turned in, because this is an important part of your grade for this class, Bio 120. This is a presentation. So you're making this as if you are going to present this to an audience, and you have to impress them with your topic, and you have to get some kind of emotional response from them. You have to make them care about your subject. Why would anybody care about gene editing? Why would anybody care about cutting down the rainforest? Why would anybody care about climate change? Well, there are a lot of people in the world who don't. So you have to make them care. You have to make them care about your subject. So how are you going to do that? With a slide presentation PowerPoint's perfectly fine. Canva, Google Slides. Some of you are using Keystone. Anything, any way that you're making slides. You can do this in PDF, I think. Any way that you make slides is perfectly fine with me. I'll figure out how to open them. You're going to make a slide presentation. And this has to be impactful. It can't just be a whole bunch of words on a slide. Have I ever seen these types of presentations? You better believe it. Even in education. Somebody will throw up a slide and it'll be full of words. And that person stands up there and reads them word for word. Like I can't read. What the heck? Yeah, no, you don't want to do that. This has to be impactful. Wow, I've emphasized that a couple of times. Speaker's notes should be at the bottom of the slides. There's a way, and I'm going to post a little video for you to show you how you just drag up from the bottom the little slide, and there's an area for speaker's notes. Your audience can't see the speaker's notes. They are there for you to help remind you what you're talking about on the slide. For me, they would also be bullet points. I'm not writing out exactly what I'm supposed to say because I'm never going to do that. I just need to be reminded of what I'm talking about. So those are speaker's notes. That's where the detail will come in. That's where you will put in your detail. All right, what does this include? What information does this include? All 3 of your milestones. Assignment 3-2. Milestone 1, 4-3, milestone 2, 5-2, milestone 3. I've graded all of these. You have feedback on them all. Fix them, right? I have given you feedback. So fix whatever needs to be fixed and then make all of your slides. These all have to be on slides. So use your corrections that I've already included in the rubrics. Include imagery. So if you're talking about pollution, water pollution, one of the best examples in the world was from the 1960s when rivers in Ohio caught on fire. Yes, they did. The water literally caught on fire and burned for days and days because of all the pollutants that were put into the river systems. Wouldn't that be a very good, important type of image for people to see in order to understand what can happen with water pollution? So imagery is important because it pulls your audience in to care about your topic. Graphics, little cartoons, any kind of representation of your subject. Photos, of course, are important. Data is important. Statistics, tables, graphs, figures, all of those are important. You don't want to see just a whole bunch of gobbledygook up on a slide that your speaker is reading to you. You want to see something that conveys the idea to you. Okay? You will use bullet points. Now, you'll notice that I always have bullet points on my slides. And do I read them word for word? No. Am I limited just by what the bullet points say? Of course not. No, I'm talking about them. But include bullet points, and the bullet points help to remind you what you're speaking about, what the different points are that you want to hit in this particular section of your presentation. Label everything, include in-text citations, include a reference page. Reference page doesn't count as one of your slides, but you do need that. And if you'll think about it, you have all these different sections, right, from those milestones. You should have a slide for each one of the sections, whether it was methods or whether it was analysis or whether it was personal, like how can you personally change what you're doing to help solve this problem. All of those topics that we had in your milestones, each one should have a slide. That's the way that I would look at it. Label everything. Label everything. You're not writing this like an essay. This is not an essay. You're trying to make different points. Label each one of the sections, because if you look at that rubric again for the final project, it's really long. Each one of these sections, once again, that were in those milestones will be listed. So label everything. Very important. I have no idea what I meant by more hints, because I think I've covered them all. What do you need to do? Make an impact on your audience. Yeah, that's very important. And then one other thing that you need to realize is that there's a last day when you can turn in anything else that you need to for the course, and that is Sunday, April 26th. That is the last day up until midnight. Before midnight, you can turn in whatever you need to turn in. After that point, you cannot turn in anything else. You cannot turn it in late. I cannot accept it late because you can't put it in the computer, and neither can I. So you need to make sure that you understand that there is a deadline for the course, Sunday, April 26th, 11:59 p.m. If you're thinking that you might need an incomplete, which I don't think anybody this term is in that boat, but if you are, you need to let me know ahead of time. You need to contact me ahead of time. And one question that I have to answer when I request this, because I'm the one who does it, is, has this student successfully completed 70% of the work in the course? And if you have not, and I check no, they will not allow you to take an incomplete in the course. So if you think you need to take an incomplete, you need to contact me as soon as possible so we can have a discussion about this. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, m.sigmon@snhu.edu. I'm here for you. I'll be glad to answer anything. I'm so proud of you all. You've all done such a good job this term. So many great topics. I've loved them all. Water pollution, air pollution, eutrophication, genetic modification, endangered species, loggerhead turtles, one of my favorite subjects because we have them here in South Carolina. Mosquito control, antibiotic resistance. I mean, so many great topics this term. So let's see what you got with these final projects. I can't wait to see them. They should be awesome. If you need anything, please just let me know. And with that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful week number 7.